Hey, what is going on, guys? Today we are taking a look at the other prototype that VRC dropped today. Earlier I posted a video on their surprise car, which was the Cadillac V-Series R GTP. This is the Isola Santini, or of course, as I'm sure you know, the Isotta Fraschini Tipo 6 LMH that had a very brief stint in WEC last year. Still finished Le Mans though. Alpine couldn't even say that. Before we get into it though, like I said, I've already made a video covering the Cadillac, so if you are interested in a little bit more in-depth on that car, be sure to check that video out. I'll leave an iCard above as well as the link to it in the end screen. I'll also be making a more in-depth video covering all of the changes that have been made to their previous LMH cars that they have released, because there is a lot of them. Pretty much the whole fleet has been completely remade and overhauled in terms of their physics, so definitely worth downloading any updates you have for these cars you bought previously. But let's get into the Isotta Fraschini Tipo 6. Of course, I don't even know what Isotta Fraschini is. I don't think anyone's really heard of them, to be honest, before they came into WEC, but they're a car manufacturer, and they decided to throw their hat in the ring and build their very own LMH car. I do believe this car was built to LMH specifications, so very, very cool and unique. Of course, they're gone now. In the current state of WEC, it's actually too saturated with manufacturers that these little smaller privateer teams, unfortunately, can't really get a hold, but I'm sure in 10 years when a few of the manufacturers go away, we'll get some of them back, and maybe, just maybe, Isotta Fraschini can return. But regardless, a pretty cool piece of LMH history that I'm sure we'll look back on here in a few years and think was pretty cool. Of course, this was a kind of surprise star in the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Didn't finish very well, but it made it all the way to the end of the race with pretty much no mechanical issues throughout it, which was a fantastic effort for this team's first showing. Their driver lineup was pretty rough, but thankfully here in Assetto Corsa, my name is actually on the door of the number 11, which is kind of VRC's representation of the real-life livery that raced, so that's pretty cool. Thank you, VRC, for putting my name on the car, so be sure to drive that one when you check this one out. But anyway, let's get to the specs of this thing. Very similar to the Cadillac, of course. About 700 brake horsepower, depending on how much hybrid deploy you're using. 633 newton meters of torque, and it weighs 1,030 kilograms. This car is powered by a 3-liter V6 turbocharged engine, so it is an Italian V6. I know we have a lot of those here in the LMH class, but this thing actually has a pretty unique sound, and I definitely don't mind it, actually. It's a little bit muted in certain RPMs, but it's a pretty cool sounding car. Nothing will ever beat the Cadillac, though, for me, but maybe that's just the American talking. In terms of the sounds, though, VRC have done a fantastic job as usual. The model looks fantastic as well. I kind of didn't really like how this car looked when it first kind of got revealed, I'll be honest, but it's definitely grown on me. It's a very unique looking car. I would say this and the Aston Martin Valkyrie that's now racing, of course, this year are kind of the most hypercar-ish looking ones. This one's got a little bit of like a wider canopy, it feels like, so it feels a little bit more like a road car, but this one's still definitely reminiscent of like the LMP1 days and things like that. The Aston Martin is super cool. It honestly looks very, very unique, but we're not talking about the Aston. We'll wait for VRC to cover that one, and then I'll gush about that naturally aspirated V12. But anyway, fantastic car to look at. And in terms of its driving, it definitely feels nice. It feels a little bit more stable, actually, than the Cadillac. I guess maybe I could contribute that to a little bit less weight in the back. Of course, the Cadillac has the massive 5.5-liter V8, so a little bit of a smaller, lighter engine probably, so a little bit less snappy. But all of the prototype H cars in VRC's fleet have gotten a massive physics overhaul, and they are definitely a little bit more touchy on the back end, like I said in the Cadillac video, mostly attributed to some tire model changes. They're a lot more sensitive now to temperature, as well as the TC systems being kind of reworked and overhauled and made a little bit less optimistic is what my VRC contact told me. So some very nice updates all around. Of course, the only other sim that this car is represented in is Le Mans Ultimate, and Le Mans Ultimate is a very unique feeling sim, so it's honestly kind of hard to get an apples to apples comparison, but they're both pretty similar feeling from the broad strokes. And overall, this car is actually surprisingly fun to drive. I've pretty much put about equal amount of time in both the Cadillac and the Tipo 6, as well as all the other cars in the fleet. Honestly, it's been really fun to revisit all of them, but definitely a shining star. You can pick up the Isotta Fraschini for $549 USD, or if you're interested in the Cadillac as well, and especially if you don't already have their Alpine, you can pick them up in the ProtoH Pack Two for around $14 USD, which is an absolute steal. I'm gonna shut up now though and let you take a listen to the Tipo 6 in action. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much, as always, to VRC for letting me try these cars out a little bit early and make these videos for you all. I'm not done though. I will be making a kind of broader video going over all of the changes to the ProtoH fleet as well, so be sure to stay tuned for that. It'll maybe be here, maybe be on my second channel. I haven't decided yet, but regardless, I will keep you all posted here in the coming days. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a good one, guys.